what if I don't want to say just slash? I want to go to a route called hello-world. So I want to go to the browser here and be able to say, okay, I want to go to localhost 3000 / hello-world. How do we make this kind of named route here? That's easy. We just change the first argument to the get function. So we go here, we see get, see that? Instead of slash, say hello-world. So whenever the user goes to / hello-world, it will hit this endpoint. Save that. You can automatically see it. Node-mon automatically restart it for us. Go to the browser. Now, if you refresh, there's no more hello world here. So you have to say hello-world, and that's when that endpoint is hit. Now let's go back to the code here. Now let's do something more interesting. Let's send back HTML page. How do we do that? Well, that's easy. Instead of sending this string, you can start writing the HTML here. Okay, let's make the HTML tag. Don't forget to close it. And then inside, within, between the open and close, let's do the body tag. And then forget to close the body tag. And then finally, I'm going to write a message, a paragraph, put a paragraph here. Hello, world. Okay, you need to be familiar with HTML, so I assume everybody knows a little bit. Just write the tags with the angle brackets surrounding them. So open tag for HTML, open tag for body, and open tag for paragraph, and don't forget to close them. And let's save that. Go to the browser, refresh. If I open DevTools, I want to inspect this. You can see that's HTTP body and P hello world here. It's actually HTML that was returned. This will be the Elements tab in Chromium-based browsers. I'm using Firefox, so it should be an Elements tab that you can see the DOM. Or alternatively, you can right-click and click Build Page Source, and you can see we return this. You can close that. So to verify the request, I click Network tab and reload. I can also see here the response headers. You see the response is here, right? Hello world. You can see raw. Raw is what it looks like. And then the headers, let me just check the response headers. So one thing we want to do when we send back HTML is to send a content type like this here, accept text HTML. Usually we add a content type header to that response. But the browser here recognizes that's actually HTML, so that's why I render like that. So now I want to talk about how to set headers. You can see all these headers are sent in the requested response. We can also send our own header to add some more information about the response. And the one I want to do is content type. That's a very common type of header to specify what kind of response is this. Is this a plain text? Is it HTML? Is it application JSON? So let's do that. Go to the Visual Studio Code. Here, before I do the send, I'm going to say res.set. Whoops. And what this does, let me change my spaces to 2, because I like 2 spaces, indentation. So I can set, give 2 arguments. The first is the header name. I put quotes, content, -type. The second is the value for this. So I'm going to say text/HTML. This is the header, the content type for HTML. You got to write it like this, text/HTML, to let the browser know, okay, I'm sending back HTML. So in this case, it recognizes it as HTML, but usually you want to set it to be properly parsed by the browser. So you want to say, hey, I'm sending back HTML, okay? So you should render it as HTML, not any other kind of file or content. So when I say res.set, I'm setting a header to be sent in the response. Res is the response object. We can call set, name of the header, and then the value as a second argument to that set function. Make sure to call it before you call send, okay? Now save that. Node-mon restarted the server for us. And then we want to go back here to the browser. I want to refresh. And I'll observe the DevTools on the Network tab because I'm going to need it. I click there. I see in the response headers, I should be able to see, where's that? Content type. Why is it not there? Oh, is it because it's cached? Oh, okay, let me disable cache here. There's this option on the browser, usually. You can disable cache. Cache is a way for when you download a page, it saves it locally. So every time you try to get it again, instead of making a request to the server, it just downloads the local version. We don't really want to do that because we're developing locally. So that might affect your responses, because I'm developing real time and changing things a lot. So I'm going to disable cache so it never does that. Okay. Make sure to turn it back on when you finish developing. Let me see if it does it right. Okay. Now it's here. You can see content type in the response headers. That's what I set there. Content type is text HTML. And there's also this additional care set for UTF-8. It's probably added by Express. I don't know. Just to make sure this content is encoded in UTF-8. And if you want to parse this, decode it using UTF-8. But what matters is it's text/HTML. So we identify this response as sending back HTML. So the browser doesn't confuse it with something else.